Peace to everybody. This story is about African elephants are evolving without tusks because of poaching. And as you can see here in the video is an elephant who has tusks, but but it's mostly I think it is the females that are evolving without tusks because the poachers they come and kill these animals for their tusk and they make ivory out of it. They make like knickknacks or what jewelry or anything they can get their hands on. Many elephants at the Gorongosa National Park in Mozambique, Africa, are lacking one distinguishable feature that elephants usually have: tusk. Researchers believe the heavy presence of poaching has led elephants here to evolve without tusks, so their human predators have no reason to kill them and steal their tusks for ivory. So the elephants are very much evolving without having tusks because the poachers they steal them for ivory, and this is why these poachers need to be stopped because it's not fair to the elephants at all, but since now they have to evolve without having tusks, it's not natural selection that is causing elephants to evolve without tusks, says Ryan Long, a researcher who has studied the elephants at Gorongosa National Park. It's an artificial selection caused by decades of poaching. So for decades, the poachers have been killing them. Ryan Long is a researcher, and he says that it's artificial selection for them to evolve, or that is caused by poaching, and it's just really heartbreaking that these elephants are not allowed to have their tusks because of the poachers. There's multiple things that could produce that sort of thing in elephant populations, but the leading hypothesis is that there's been a substantial amount of pressure placed on those populations by poachers, Long told CBS News. So yeah, there has been a substantial amount of pressure by the poachers because of them hunting them and taking their ivory. Long, an assistant professor of wildlife sciences, University of Idaho, said tusks are usually a necessity, especially for male elephants. Males use their tusks for combat and for breeding rates, among other things. However, in an environment where poachers are a moral threat, tusks suddenly became a liability. Long explained, and so as opposed to being something that benefits elephants, those elephants that have tusks, they're the ones that get targeted first. So the wildlife, uh, they're studying a lot of things with the elephants and the male elephants. Of course, they have tusks for a reason because of their combat of breeding and also among other things. But now that the elephants are evolving, they're not going to have their tusk at all, and they're the ones that get targeted first. And as you can see here in the picture, there's elephants with blood and ivory. They're the elephant poaching in Kenya. So as you can see, the one elephant has blood on its tusk. Tusklessness is almost an exclusively female trait, Long said. It's rare to see a tuskless male elephant because in the absence of poaching, males naturally grow larger tusks, since they use them more. Female elephants do use their tusks, but female elephants in Mozambique big or whatever, are doing just fine without them according to Long. So the female elephants, they can go without tusks. It's no problem for them. But when it comes to the male elephants, yeah, they do need them, but as long as the poachers are a threat to them, there's no way they're going to be allowed to have them. Researchers are still trying to pinpoint all the genetics that underpin tusklessness. However, poachers are essentially weeding out the gene for tusk growth from elephant populations. As more elephants with tusks get killed, the ones that survive and breed are more likely to be tuskless. Ones who pass down their tuskless genes in a very short amount of time. You've got a lot of populations of elephants who don't have tusks, Long said. So so there's a genetic um thing going around for the elephants that they could be born and grow without tusks, and of course the researchers are pinpointing all the genetics how they could be, and figure out why this is happening, because the poachers are not very nice, and they think they could just do whatever they want to the elephants, but you know how that is. They just don't want to be hunted, and this is why they the ones who do survive, they pass down their tuskless genes to the next generation. If you don't have big tusks, you may not breed. If you're a male elephant, Long said, whereas for female elephants there's always been a background level of tusklessness in most elephant populations that aren't subjected to poaching pressure. So yeah, there is a background level for the tuskless female elephants, and the big tusks are really the more threat that the poachers want. Normally, about 4 to 6% of female elephants are tuskless. That number, however, is increasing for populations that have been subjected to poaching. In the Mozambique Preserve, only about 200 adult female elephants survive, and according to National Geographic, recent research shows that about a third of the younger females, the generation born since a civil war ended in 1992, never developed tusks. So it was so for the population for the poaching, there was like about 200 females did survive, and the generation born since the Civil War ended in 1992, they're the ones that will never develop their tusk at all. So the females are doing just fine without them. If poaching pressure decreases, tusklessness may become less prevalent, Long said, but poaching is still prevalent in much of Africa. Therefore, tuskless female elephants are expected to be prevalent too. So the more it decreases, the more there won't be no more poaching for these elephants at all, and especially when it comes for the female and male that do have tusks. And it's very sad that these elephants are killed every day, but if they just keep declining of not having tusks at all, then they'll be just fine. And as you can see here is well, I don't know, that's a woman protect rhinos from poachers, but that's another story. But anyway, leave your comments below. I am out.